Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you.
Hi friends, I'm Pastor Susan and I'm here to welcome you to Vacation Bible School for 2020. Vacation Bible School looks a little different this year since we can't all be in the same place, but it's going to have all the same things that... Oh, I'm sorry. So sorry. I was saying, Vacation Bible School is going to have all the same things that you love about Vacation Bible School, just all in our own homes. We're still going to have time to be together with friends online, and we will still have crafts and games and music, and we have a number of leaders, new leaders with me this year, and some of our favorite volunteer friends. Miss Leah and Miss Grace and Miss Lindsay will all be joining me each week to help share our Compassion Camp Vacation Bible School experience with you. And throughout our summer, we will also invite other friends, some of our Sunday school teachers and our friends from church, to come and share parts of our lessons as well. Then I'm hoping you'll join us for small groups when we can get together online and see some of our friends and share some of the things that we've been thinking about our lessons and the Bible story, share some of our music together, play some games, and show off some of our craft projects. We're going to have a lot of fun, and I'm so sorry. I'm just a little sleepy today. I'm sorry. That's kind of rude. Anyway, what was I saying? Yes, Compassion Camp. It's going to be great, and I'm glad you're here. So let's get started. Oh, wait, are you yawning now too? Wait a minute, why are you yawning? I'm the one who's sleepy. Oh, I've heard of this. It's actually a scientific fact that when people yawn, when they see other people yawn, even chimpanzees and dogs do it. Hey, that gives me an idea. Let's try this right now, or with your family at home while you're sitting around the table. You can yawn. And see if it makes your family yawn. Hey, try it. See if it makes your dog yawn. I want to know. Come back and tell me if it does. When you see someone yawn or laugh or cry, something in your brain responds because you know what it's like to feel laughter or sadness or sleepiness. So by seeing me yawn, your body and your brain respond accordingly. That's pretty interesting, isn't it? That's called empathy. And when we know what it's like to feel something, even if it's not us that's feeling it, we can be more compassionate towards one another. For example, if I see someone step on a Lego, that hurts. And I know how much it hurts. So if I see someone step on a Lego, I feel compassion for them because I know that hurts, right? My foot can't feel the Lego hurting it because it's actually hurting someone else's foot. But at that moment, when I see you or my mom or my brother step on that Lego, empathy kicks in my brain and reminds me what that suffering feels like. And if my compassion is strong, then I might offer to help you because I know I would want someone to help me feel better. That's empathy, and it helps us have compassion. Compassion is that when I see your hurt, I feel your hurt with you. I have empathy, and I want to help ease that hurt. That's what we're talking about this week at Compassion Camp. How we can see other people's hurt and pain, feel it with them, and help ease it. That's compassion. In order to show empathy, though, I have to see you. I have to notice you, and that's the first step in compassion. When we gather around a table like this one, or even a virtual table like our small groups will be over Zoom, we look into each other's eyes, hear each other's voices, we begin to be able to understand how we're all feeling. That is why it's so important to welcome other people to our table, to sit around and be in the same place with them in some way so that we can understand how they're feeling. That could be our kitchen table. It could be the Lord's table of communion. It could be our lunch table at school, or it could be a digital table online, like we'll have together this week. When we welcome different people to our table, we're able to show more empathy. Let's start off Compassion Camp with a song. Our first song is a gathering song. God invites everyone to the table of blessing. Everyone is included. Everyone. And when we sing this song together, I want you to think of all the people you would like to include at God's table. Let's join Mr. Phil and come to the table.
Come to the table, yes, come to the table. Come to the table and celebrate with us. Come to the table, yes, come to the table. Yes, come to the table and celebrate with us. We are all welcome, yes, we are all welcome. We are all welcome, come celebrate with us. We are all welcome, yes, we are all welcome. We are all welcome and celebrate with us. Let's have a party, yes, let's have a party. Let's have a party, come celebrate with us. Let's have a party, yes, let's have a party. Let's have a party, come celebrate with us. We are all family, yes, we are all family, yes, we are all family, come celebrate with us. We are all family, yes, we are all family, we are all family, come celebrate with us.
What a fun song. I think that one's going to get caught in my head a little. It's a good thing. Today at Compassion Camp, we're going to learn about a family party where everyone was celebrating around a meal. But one family member was not too happy about the party. It's a story that you've probably heard before, and I hope you'll hear it again today with new ears and a new heart, to pay attention to new things in the story. As we begin to learn more about compassion together, I want us to begin with a compassion prayer right now. Put one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. I know it feels a little funny, and it's not how we normally pray, but we're doing this because compassion happens in our brains, our heads, but we feel it in our hearts. Repeat after me as we pray. Welcoming one. Your warm, wide arms are always open, drawing us in to your heart full of love. Make our arms your own, helping us see and welcome with compassion all those we meet. Amen.
Hi, my name is Lindsay, and I'm so glad that you're joining me today as I tell you an amazing Bible story. I will be reading through the parable of the father and his two sons. which we see in Luke chapter 15, verses 11 through 32. As I tell you the story, I want you all to keep in mind the word compassion. Think about how compassion is shown throughout this Bible story. So, let's open our ears and dive right in. Jesus told this parable. There was once a man who had 2 sons. The younger brother greedily demanded his inheritance, turned his back on his family, and left them for a faraway country. He wasted all the money he took from his family. Soon he became needy and hungry. Even though he felt ashamed, he decided to return home, hoping his father might welcome him back. When his father saw him, he was filled with compassion. He ran out to his son and threw his arms around him. He was so happy he was alive. The father got a big dinner together with the best food and drink to give thanks for his son's safe return. Meanwhile, the older brother came in from the fields, tired from working hard all day. His father went to the older brother to persuade him to come. But he said, "I've listened to you and worked hard for you all these years, and you've never given me a party. My brother comes home after wasting all his money, and you throw him a huge party." His father said to him, "Son, I love you. You know what is mine is yours. But people matter more than possessions. We thought we lost your brother from our family, but he's home. Come to the table and celebrate with us." When we listen to stories, we can learn so much from the feelings of people. This is one way we learn compassion. We see, listen, and recognize what people are feeling. And this helps us feel their joy and their hurt with them. Sometimes it requires a bit of imagination on our part, because the story might not tell us directly what people are feeling. For example, we might focus on the younger brother and father, but the older brother has something to show us. Compassion helps us to see how every human being is important and loved by God. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you, Miss Lindsay, for sharing the parable of the 2 sons with us. Hi, I'm Miss Leah, and I have the pleasure of coloring with you and talking about the story. So feel free to pause the video so you can get your materials. You want to have your printout that looks like this, and something to color with. Colored pencils, markers, crayons. I have my colored pencils with me. So, thinking about this story we just heard, what did the father see in this story? And did you see what the father saw? Feel free to color. I'm coloring now. How about the younger brother? What did the younger brother see? And the older brother? What do you think the older brother saw? What feelings did you feel when you heard the story? Who shows compassion? Who do you think receives compassion in our story? Now, let's imagine together. Do you think the older brother ever came to the party? If he did, do you think he sat down at any of the tables? can hear our birds have joined us. If he sat down, who might he have sat with? And do you think he sat at a table with his dad and his brother? If not, when might they have had a meal together again? Who sits with you at your dinner table? I know I have my 2 daughters who sit with me, Molly Rose and Lucia, and I have my husband, and sometimes he joins us, sometimes he doesn't, because he works a lot. When you're at your dinner table, what do you talk about? I know at our table, we talk about what kind of things went on during the day. We are open to talking about the good things or the things that might have not been so good during the day. And we do our best to listen to each other. How do you welcome each other when someone's had a hard day or doesn't want to sit at the table? I know sometimes when one of us has had a hard day, we give them space, and if they're ready to come to the table and talk, then they may. If they're not quite ready, we give them time. How's your picture coming along? Let's see. This is how much I've done so far. After you are done, you may cut along the dotted lines, and I hope you'll want to share it, put it in your house, to remember compassion is seeing and welcoming. And each week we will color a different picture to go along with our story. And if you have ribbon or string, you can string them all together and make a garland. Thank you for joining me. Coming up is Arts and Crafts with Molly Rose.
Hi friends, today we're making empathy dolls. What you'll need is your toilet paper roll, some scissors, glue, either the liquid or stick, and you can use, or even double-sided tape. You also need, well, you don't need this, but if you want it to be more sturdy, you can have a little circle piece of cardboard, which you can find in your recycling bin. And last but not least, you will need your template for the empathy dolls. So we're gonna first start with our template, and we're gonna cut out all the pieces. So you have your 3 individual pieces, your base with the center cut out of it, your face, and your people. We are gonna start, you put these aside, and we're gonna start with the face and the toilet paper roll and your people. So first, we're gonna start by lining the fold line here with the end of our toilet paper roll. Line it up, and then you're gonna take your face circle and put it right next to the end of the mouth at the face here. And then you can just take a little bit of glue and put it right there. Just glue it there. And then when it's glued, you can just cut out around the edge. around the bottom. And you have your face hole. Next, we're gonna go with our little people. We're gonna fold along the dotted line at the bottom. Fold there, and then you can unfold that. And then we're gonna cut each little piece. So now that you have all your little tabs cut out, we're going to glue this tab here. So just put a little bit of glue on it, make sure it's all covered with glue. And then we are going to roll it, and you can stick this glue onto this piece here. Now you have there. We will then take our little base piece and put a little bit of glue on the bottom of that. And make sure when you put it through, it goes glue side down. Glue, and then you'll just stick it on to the little tabs. Now, if you have a cardboard base, this is the time when you would add some glue to that. And stick it on. And then you have your nice little person. Then we can take our toilet paper roll and put him inside, and he has nice little faces. And if it's a little too small, you can cut it a little more to make sure their faces fit perfectly inside. Just like that. And then you can draw little people's clothes on it, or hair, or you can put a hat on it. It's up to you.
Hello, how are you? So glad to see you. Hi friends, my name is Miss Grace, and welcome to Create and Play. Today, I'm gonna show you how to play 3 games, and the first game I'm gonna show you is maybe for a little bit of an older crowd, and then the last 2 are for younger kids, but I like to play the younger kids games too. So if you wanna play all 3, you are welcome to do that. Okay, the first thing you're gonna need is to print out the PDF that you guys were sent, and then cut out the faces, and then color them according to whatever your heart desires. So I colored them just different fun little colors, and so that they're all different. You want to color them all a different color because one of the games that I'm going to show you is a matching game, and you're going to need 2 of these actually, and you're going to need to color them the exact same color. So if you color the happy red, then you're gonna want to color the second happy red, okay? So that when you do the matching game, when you flip it over, you can match it, okay? So I'm gonna go ahead and explain game number 1. It's called How Do You Feel? Now, this game is super fun because you can sit in a circle, and what you do is one person chooses to go first, and then the person, whoever is sitting to their right, is going to guess the emotion that you're feeling based on what story you're telling them. So you're going to use a little bit of improv. Improv means to create something new and to make it up. Or you can use a real life story that you've actually experienced. It doesn't really matter. You can make it up, or you can use a story that's actually happened. For example, the person who's going to be telling the story of an emotion that they may have felt at one time is going to say something like this. One day, I woke up and my tooth was missing. It was gone. And the person to the right of the storyteller is going to guess the emotion that you may have been feeling. Were you feeling sad? And then the storyteller can say, yeah, I was feeling sad, or actually, no, I was feeling really excited, okay? And then once the storyteller is done, then the person who guessed the emotion gets to tell the story next. So another example of a story could be, one day I was walking down the street and I found a $5 bill. Okay, now the person to their right could say, were you feeling sad because a person lost $5? Or were you feeling happy because you found $5? And then the storyteller would answer, I was feeling sad for the person and happy for me because I found it. Okay, so that is game number 1. It's called How Do You Feel? And the storyteller tells a story of an experience that made them feel happy, sad, excited, scared. You can use the emotions that are on this PDF. And if you want to create more emotions, you're welcome to do that too. Okay, game number 2 is called a matching game. I explained this a little bit earlier. You're gonna need 2 of these, and you're gonna need to cut them out and then color them the same, okay? So you're gonna have 6 cards on one page, and what you're gonna do is you're gonna flip them over. You guys know how to play matching game, right? Mamas, daddies, caregivers. Okay, so you flip them over, and if I had cut both out, then I would have 12, right? So you should have 12 to play this. You flip them all over, you mix them around, and then one person goes, ooh, silly. And then they try to find another silly card. Oh, I picked excited. Those are kind of close, but it's not matching. So it's the next person's turn, and so on and so forth. Have fun with this one. This is really fun. Okay, the last game, game number 3, something that's super silly, and it's a game that helps you kind of get your wiggles out. It's called Let's Make Faces. You're gonna take all the emotion cards and then put them in a pile, flip them over, and the person who goes first is gonna pull a card and then act out the emotion that they see. And then you have to guess, okay? What emotion was I doing? Did you guess silly? That's right, I was being silly. Okay, let me do one more. All right, here I go. Okay, what emotion was I doing? Did you guess scared? That's right, I was acting like I was scared. Okay, go ahead and play this game with your family, and I hope that you have so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me today with Create and Play. I'm so excited that you are here with me today. I think what's coming next is Miss Molly is gonna teach you some yoga movement. I'm really excited to see what she has for you.
Yoga began as a spiritual practice in ancient India, centering on bringing the mind, body, and spirit into oneness with the divine. This meaningful practice has grown globally, and people of all faiths and belief systems find nourishment in different variations, a powerful reminder of how we learn from one another. When we say namaste, we connect with siblings across the world. Breathing is the heart of yoga, and breath itself is a physical way to receive and release. As we reflect on the ways compassion makes us release, accept, and welcome, we will focus on breath alongside some basic yoga poses. So we're going to start like this, where you sit on the floor and with your legs crossed. We're going to take 3 deep, slow breaths together. As we inhale and exhale, we're going to say some phrases. So start with an inhale, I see, and exhale, I welcome. Inhale, I see. Exhale, I welcome. Last time, inhale all the way up. I see. Exhale all the air out. I welcome. Now we're going to move into child's pose. So go ahead and scoot your hips back a little bit. Have them in sort of a V shape. You can either sit on your heels, you can have them a little bit outside of your hips, whatever works best for you. And then you're going to go ahead and lean forward. So child's pose is a position where we connect with God's creation, the earth, and God's spirit within each of us as we bow our bodies and your hearts. So go ahead and lean forward and stretch your arms, and you can rest your forehead on the ground or a little bit above it if you can't quite reach the ground. And just take a couple of breaths here. And once you've done that, we're going to go ahead and move into tabletop. So make sure your shoulders are set over your wrists and your hips are over your knees. The table is a place of regrounding. Feel your steadiness. There's room for everyone at God's table. So you can go ahead and feel the earth beneath your hands and beneath your knees, and feel how your weight is sitting on your hands and knees. You're very strong, very steady. And then from that, we're going to move back into downward facing dog. So go ahead and tuck your feet up, all right? And then back, 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 back. Exhale. Go ahead and stretch here. You can shift your legs back and forth, and you bend one knee and the other. You tilt your head out a bit. Just that. Move your hips. All right. Then inhale to the upward facing dog. Go ahead and don't set your hips down. You're still carrying your weight, but you can move your toes back like that. Inhale. We face the sun and welcome what this day holds for us. We're going to exhale back to downward facing dog. And then from here, we're going to go ahead and inhale and step up to the top of the mat. And you reach up, 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 up into mountain pose. Reach up and then exhale, hands to your heart. You finish off by saying Namaste, which can translate roughly to the light in me sees and acknowledges the light in you. Namaste. Then, if you want to, you can also move through the past couple of poses a little more quickly. So you can start again in tabletop. All right, ready? This time pay close attention to your breath and move with me and your breath. So, child's pose, from tabletop, inhale, exhale, downward facing dog, right away. Inhale, upward facing dog, and exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, you can step or hop to the top of your mat, and then all the way back up. Then if you want, you can exhale, walk yourself back down. All right, and inhale, and then exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. Namaste.
To help us think about the Bible story each week, you have a copy of a compassion poster that looks like this. Okay, now you may have it printed on one piece of paper, or it may be on 6 separate pieces of paper that you get to piece together like a puzzle, and then it'll be really big like this. However you have it, I want you to take your compassion poster out now, and each week as we think about the Bible story, we're going to look for some examples of how that story is being acted out and how compassion is seen in this scene in the poster. So for this week, can you find all the moments of compassion that are happening around a table in the poster? Color those in now. By the end of our time at Vacation Bible School, we should have all of this poster colored in. But for this week, just color the moments of compassion that are happening around a table. And there's at least 5 of them, maybe more. See if you can find them. Have fun. Each week at Vacation Bible School, Compassion Camp, we are going to have a project for you to do at home that allows you to share God with other people and put compassion into action. This week, we'd like you to create a centerpiece for your family table, since we're talking about welcoming others to the table. And in these times, mostly who is around our table is our family. So you can be as creative as you want with that. You could go outside and pick some flowers and some leaves and create either a wreath or a jar full of flowers for your centerpiece at your table. Or you might decide to make a jar of flowers or a centerpiece of flowers. You might find some rocks that are really wonderful and wash them off and create a naturescape at the table. You can be as creative as you want to be. I'm going to give you a couple of ideas. One is to make some people out of pipe cleaners or chenille stems, whatever you like to call them, and you get to create little people. These could be the characters from our Bible story today, or they could be the members of your family, and you could attach them to cardboard so they stand on your table all around and look wonderful. They're easy to shape, so especially for the characters in our Bible story, you could shape them as the feelings that they had in those stories so that they really look like they're having those feelings. Or you could shape them, if they're your family members, like things they like to do. So maybe you can make one playing tennis or one riding a skateboard or painting or something like that. So you can be as creative as you want with those. They're super simple to make. All you're gonna do is you're gonna take a pipe cleaner and you're gonna put the ends together at the bottom, and then you're gonna kind of fold it, not too tightly, and you're going to twist it to make the head, okay? Then when you've twisted a little bit for a neck and a body, all right, keep twisting, twisting, twisting. Then you're gonna take a second pipe cleaner. I'm gonna use a second color, but you could do whatever you want. And you're going to twist that pipe cleaner around the first. Can you see? So right now he's got super long arms, but when you twist them together, then they won't be quite so long. And you can leave a hand on one side, kind of like you left with the loop, kind of like you left the loop for the head, and that way he or she could hold on to something. So you just keep twisting, 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 and when you feel like your arms are the right length and your legs are the right length, then you can bend and make some feet and make them stand up. Okay, so that's another way you can make a centerpiece for your family. The other thing you could do if you don't want to make a centerpiece is you could make placemats for your family table. And this is another project. You can use whatever you have on hand at home. Find a big piece of paper. You could even cut apart a paper bag if that's what you need. Probably about 12 inches by 18 inches would work. And then you can find different colors of paper. Could be construction paper, it could be scrapbook paper, it could be birthday cards that you've been saving or wrapping paper. Cut it into about 3-inch squares, and on your paper, your background paper, you can put a grid 3 inches up and down and 3 inches across, and then you can just glue with a glue stick your squares wherever you want them, okay? So it kind of ends up looking a little bit like a quilt. I hope you can see it. And if you glue them all down, I'm gonna find some different colors here. Glue them all down, make placemats, make one for each member of your family. If you have, some of us have laminators at home, you could laminate them and then they'd last a really long time. Or if you have some clear contact paper, you could put that over it to make it last. But either way, even if you just glue them down and have the paper placemat, that'll last at least for one night at your dinner table, and it'll make your table really festive while you talk about what you did at Compassion Camp. So that's our compassion and action projects for this week. Choose the one that you like best and that works best for your family, and have fun sharing God with the people around you. Today we saw how when we gather around a table, even like this at a virtual table, we can see and feel the emotions that are present around the table with us, in the people who are here. In our Bible story today, the father saw and welcomed his younger son. He showed compassion when he saw his son's shame and his son's sadness. And the father welcomed him back home. But sometimes we forget that the father also showed compassion to the older brother by seeing his hurt and frustration. He showed compassion and welcomed his son to the table too. The father reminded both brothers that they are fully loved no matter what. Let's close in the same way that we opened today. Put one hand on your head and one hand on your heart. We're doing this because compassion happens in our brains, but we often feel it in our hearts. Repeat our prayer after me. Welcoming one. Your wide, warm arms are always open, drawing us into your heart full of love. Make our arms your own, helping us see and welcome with compassion all those we meet. Amen. Let's sing our Come to the Table song together and remember how God welcomes everyone to the table of blessing. Think of all the people that you would like to include at God's table.
Come to the table, yes, come to the table. Come to the table and celebrate with us. Come to the table, yes, come to